where our backdrop is this time around for Max. Where are we at here? What is this? Is this home? Is this backyard?
Yeah, we're outside. The inside of my house is a little noisy right now. My daughter is watching Lion King for about the 500th time. So, um, I figured I'd just step outside. It's easier than turning it off. So,
Nice. Good to see you, man. Before Todd jumps, I just want to make sure. How you feeling, dude? Because you took a hit the other day. You feeling okay?
yeah, we're better. It was a little tender, still a little tender, but yeah, we're doing much better.
You see
Thank
that
God.
the other
Yeah,
day?
unbelievable. He's a beast. Look at him, bro. He
Yeah.
looks like a brick
Still,
wall.
I just want to make sure, like, kids. If he
Hey,
wants it, if more kids are being made, everything's good.
Yeah.
Check it
Hey,
out.
Listen, he'll be fine.
I know that sucks though. You've been hit.
Ooh, one time. It's Wrigley Field. It wasn't fun.
Describe the feeling.
Numb,
Numb.
awkward. Just want
Yeah,
to
there's
go
not
home
really,
and curl
there's
up
not
in
really
a
any
ball.
describing that. It's just pain.
It's worse.
Yeah.
I got nailed once in basketball, and like you lose a breath for a second.
Yeah,
I'm like, oh shit.
And Max, let me. I don't know if you were hearing us about Anthony Rendon thing going on. What's your take on that, man? Because I'm personally, as an old player, I'm on his side, but I really don't think he should have touched him at the same time. But for me, there's got to be a happy medium where the fans can get that close, start talking smack, and understand. Like, listen, I'm gonna come back at you, but without touching you. I understand he should have never touched the guy. But what's your take on that whole situation?
Yeah, I mean, I think as players, we're all on Anthony's side a little bit there, but you're absolutely right. He took it a little too far, but I think that situation doesn't happen anywhere but Oakland. That's the only stadium where, as a visiting player, you're literally walking through the stands to get back to the clubhouse. It's not like you're just walking down the line. You're literally walking through the stands to go up the tunnel, and it's also the same tunnel that the fans walk down to get to those seats too. So it's the only place in baseball where you're doing that. So I think anywhere else, maybe that situation doesn't happen. But yeah, I mean, it's a tough one for me because obviously as a player you have to understand you have a lot more to lose. You have certain responsibilities, certain limitations. But if that situation happens in any other situation in life, whatever that guy said, he's probably going to get his ass beat for that. But
Yeah.
unfortunately, that doesn't work in our world. So you just have to understand where that's at.
You ever have a situation like that? How did you respond, or how are you going to respond when you have that situation?
I try to stay away from the edges there, just to prevent situations like that from happening. There's been a lot of things said to me over the years, and it's just it's one of those things where you understand that as a player, that's what's going to happen. That's what you're going to get, whether it's good or bad. Either way, it's just if you do good and you're on the road, then that fan base hates you. If you do bad at home, then that fan base hates you. It's just one of those things where there's really like a no-win situation. You just have to understand that that's what comes with the territory, and you have to know how to handle it.
Hey Max, should they have to switch things in Oakland? Because you said like that's the only place. Because that's the player perspective we need. Is like I didn't know that's the only place where they're like that close to you. Is it home and visiting dugout? Because if that's the case, to me, for that particular place, you shouldn't be allowed to have that kind of closeness. They're the only team that gets to do that.
Yeah, I mean, Todd and Eric can kind of touch on it a little bit, but the visiting tunnel there, that's the same exact tunnel that the fans that sit behind home plate, those 6-7 rows of seats they have there, they walk down. So whenever you're walking up the tunnel, the security has to rope off the people and kind of keep them to the side so you can walk by, but they're still standing right there. They're inches from you the whole time. And then on top of that, that's where your dugout is. You're basically sitting in the same spot as those fans at the seats, and it's there's no separation in that stadium, and it's definitely unique. It's the only stadium that's like that.
Let's go back to the whole getting hit in the cup, breaking your cup.
Really?
Because this is, well, Todd said it happened to me one time. Like, dude, I had like 17 wrist injuries a year because I'd go down because you get hit by a foul tip or something, and you're like, the trainer comes out and you're like, you're just completely out of commission, and they're like, what hurts? And you're like, oh, my wrist. They're like, but the ball hit you, and yeah, what are you gonna do? Rub where I got hit? Like, what happened in that? What was that communication like out there? Was it a wrist injury, or did you say, yeah, you hurt your knee?
Well, so it happened. I finished the inning, and I actually took my next at bat, and I was in a lot of pain, but I was going to finish the game. And then I sat down on the bench, and that was when it was that was the mistake I made, because when I sat down, my hands kind of moved over to the area, and I could feel things weren't exactly right down there, and that's when I kind of started getting lightheaded, and yeah, we'll just leave it at that.
Hey, I'm going to tell you guys this live on podcast. I never wore a cup in my life.
What?
Never once put a cup on in my life. I got hit there once. I still had 3 children, so I was pretty good. When you got Max Muncy hands, it don't matter, baby. You're gonna feel the position.
Holy shit!
All right.
Well,
how infrequent is that?
Unfortunately, on that on that note, it's not always on you. Sometimes the field has some bad hops in there, and that was what happened in this situation. We got a brand new field over here in LA, but because of the cold and rainy weather, the ground hasn't really set in properly yet, and there's nothing you can do about that.
No.
Sometimes the ball takes a difficult hop, and yep, you're the one that pays the price for it.
Yeah. What's the cup percentage? Like, how many players wear a cup in the big leagues?
I think most of them do. There's
like 9. Give me a number.
I would say 80. Well, if not infielders, outfielders don't need a cup. I would say if I'm going on infielders, I'm saying 70%. I've known a lot of them.
I'd maybe say it's less than that for infielders
now.
now.
I was going a little high because I didn't know.
I'd say that's very high.
All right, good. Well, so there you go. Young kids wear a cup or don't.
I didn't know. I feel like that's like Kratzy. You're shaking your head.
Yeah, well, he's a catcher. He had to wear
one.
one.
Well, yeah, he's a catcher. He had to wear one.
Yeah,
had to. There's not. I caught one live BP one time with no cup on because they dared me to do it. I already had 3 kids. And one time I sucked at blocking in spring training because I kept flinching in spring training. So I said, I'm going out with no cup on, and that'll get you in a good position to go down and block off the machine. And you won't get hit. You won't get hit in the cup if you block correctly. The issue is when you don't, there's mechanics that are involved, but no, 100% of catchers are wearing cups. I have not met one catcher that hasn't, but I hope I do one day.
Well, that's it's kind of a similar story with infielders. If you're not wearing one, you're forcing yourself to trust your hands and actually let your hands work instead of just getting stagnant and standing in one spot and letting the ball come to you. You force your hands to work and move.
Hey, let me ask you about the dude that got absolutely dismantled on the proposal he tried doing. I mean, listen. I mean, he got up there. This guy came out of nowhere, dude. Are we signing him up for the 49ers this year or what?
Terry Crews. Remember that? Those commercials?
Yes, it was unbelievable.
Office linebacker.
Oh, that was phenomenal.
They don't mess around with security at Dodger Stadium. That's
awesome.
Unfortunately, we have a situation like that happen probably once a homestand, and the security team there, they get it taken care of very fast normally. Unfortunately, that guy just kind of put himself in a position to, get hit sticked right there. And I think the overhead video where you see Lourdes Gurriel kind of celebrating that proposing, and then all of a sudden he puts his hands over his head. I think that's probably the perfect reaction that everyone had. It was kind of like, hey, this is awesome. This guy's proposing. And then, oh, my gosh.
Do we know if she said yes? Does anybody know? Did we have a confirmation?
I think she did say yes. I think
oh, my God.
We saw something on that, yeah.
That's a big no for me. Come on, man. You just got dismantled. That's a tough one right there.
I think the guy was banned for, I think he's banned for.
Oh, here it is.
Oh, we're showing the clip. But wait, we lost Max.
Oh, my. Still had the ring in hand, though. Still had the ring in hand.
Don't drop that thing. No fumble.
That's phenomenal. Held it tight with a
There's not to be messed with, man.
Mookie Betts jersey on too. He still had the ring in his hand. I give him credit for it. Jesus.
If you go on that field there, you will get hogtied and carried out of the stadium. It's pretty embarrassing.
do they wear cleats like the guys in Atlanta? Those security guys, they wear cleats. Do the LA guys wear cleats?
I don't think so, but yeah, as soon as someone steps on the field, you got about 60 security guards running at you. So there's no there's no hitting the juke button and getting out of that one.
Hey, Trace Thompson, 3 home runs, all 3 of them. Did you see this stat?
Same exact.
Yeah,
as
I
the
think
Same,
Bureau.
107.5 off the bat. I mean, he needs to work on just swinging 107.5 every time. That was phenomenal, man. That was
Is it that easy?
no, it's not that easy. But
Well,
talk about that one.
It's that easy for him. That's a big man, and he's strong, and it doesn't take a whole lot for him to hit the ball that hard. And I think that was kind of the perfect thing about him that night was he wasn't over swinging. He was just taking a nice easy swing, and that's the result he gets when he gets good solid contact with his easy swing. He's got those long arms, and he can do a lot of damage when he gets the barrel on the ball.
Now, is he bigger than his brother or not? Are they about around the same? Because on TV it looks like Trace is a lot bigger, I would assume.
Really?
No, I think Clay is taller than he is, but I think
Okay.
Trace is more filled out.
Yeah, that's all right. Then that's where I was going with. He's a little more broader up here and in the upper body, but I wonder
Well,
if
I
they
mean,
have
it's 2 different sports. You don't really need that in basketball. Whereas if you did need that, I'm sure it might be a different story.
you need to be loosey-goosey with the upper body.
Speaking of home runs, did your home run the other year have anything to do with your first hit by pitch in 2023?
No, I will definitely go on record and say no for that one. If he was going to hit me, it would not be with a curveball. And I think for guys that play baseball, you understand that one. That's if you're going to hit someone, you're going to hit them and make it hurt. You're not just going to hit them with a curveball.
They can hurt. Curveballs hurt. A lot of spin.
Yeah, but I mean, you can do more damage if you want. So no, I 100% believe that was just an accident.
Hey, are you a big analytical guy?
Sometimes, yeah. I like that. I feel like you need to have a good blend between analytics and then just baseball, like just old school.
Okay, I'm more old school, man.
Yeah, but you can't you got to tell him.
I
why
know.
you're asking.
I was waiting to kind of feel. I thought he was going to go a little more in depth on it to see what kind of
Yeah, but
analytics.
explain to him. He's playing ball. He doesn't know. So here,
Yeah,
I'll
go ahead.
help to
You
explain here.
explain
So
it.
because
All
the
right.
commissioner's been doing interviews, okay, and one of the interviews he did, he said one of the owners told him that like maybe we're going too far with this stuff, right? And he's like, I'll do a few quotes in here. He said he got a call from one of the more senior owners. Quote, I don't know what this analytics thing is, but I have like 75 guys. What I want to do is I would spend a week in the analytics department. I was going to figure out what the hell these guys do. And then he said the competitive advantage piece. I think there was a point, and this is where there's going to be a good debate here, and that's why I'd love to get your take here, Max. The competitive advantage piece, I think there was a point in time where if your analytics department was more developed than somebody else's, maybe you got that little edge. Right now, everybody's playing that same game. This is what the commissioner said. We're on different sides. We haven't even totally gotten into it yet, but some of us are like, no. Teams have different setups with their analytics department. You've got a big one there. How many employees are there in that analytics department?
I don't know the answer to that. I know we have quite a few, but no, I would disagree that not every team is playing the same game. That's for sure. Some teams are definitely far behind in terms of using analytics, and some teams are way ahead of others. That's something that we've always been really good at. Is our analytics department is huge, and we have so much information that we can use. And I feel like our staff does a really good job of taking that information and putting it into baseball terms instead of just trying to play a computer game. And that's something that we've always done a good job at. I feel like.
And how much different is it from where you used to play to where you play now? Night and day?
Yes. It's hard for me to go too in depth on it, but I feel like the old team, they're trying to do the same stuff. They're just not doing it with as big a budget.
It takes money to be able to talk to people. Come on, Max.
Well, I mean, it's just one of those things where they're using a certain formula, and other teams are using the same formula. They're just spending more money on it.
That's fair.
Now, hear me out on this one. So when I used to play, they used to give me these papers, and they used to say, listen, here's the percentages, what this guy, did 3 weeks ago, what he did 2 weeks ago. Be ready for this, and certain counts, certain this. So I would take this paper. I'd say, interesting. What's next? And I would explain to him. I said, listen, that paper's not showing me what he did against me. So I would go and film. Old school as hell. Watch what he did. So percentage-wise, fastballs. Because I want to see how his ball moves. Analytics, I mean, they'll tell you how it moves, but at the same time, what does he do to me? I don't want the 2-3 weeks over a span of a year. This is where you need to set up. This blah, blah, blah. I'm the eye test guy, bro. If you're hot, get in there and go, man. The numbers aren't going to show you how good you are. That's just me, right?
Yeah, I know. I'm with you on that. Especially for me because we'll get the analytics and there'll be certain scouting reports, and I feel like they never follow that scouting report when I'm in the batter's box. It always feels like it's something different, and maybe that is a scouting report. Is don't do what you normally do. I have no idea, but I'm with you on that. We get the information, and I like to glance at it and see what it says, and then I like to try and go off and do my own thing and, try to figure out my own way on how they're going to pitch me and that kind of stuff. But, it's amazing how much information has changed just in the last couple of years, really. The amount of information they can tell you is absurd nowadays. It's just, you can you can go off of how a pitcher is going to pitch based on what catchers, calling pitches back there. And, the amount of stuff is endless that they can come up with to try to help you win a game.
What's your favorite? What's your favorite go-to that you're like, all right, this is where, I want to stay in this lane? Do you go and watch a guy who you're like, oh, this guy, teams throw to him a lot like me? Or do you look at what a catcher's tendencies are? What's your go-to?
I try to pick hitters that I think are similar to how I'd be pitched, and I like to watch how a pitcher attacks them. And I like to look at situations in the game because some pitchers, based on a situation, will completely change what they do. It's hey, if you get a guy on first, they're going to throw out the scouting report and they're going to immediately just go to whatever they think can get a ground ball to get a double play. That kind of stuff. I like to look at the situations, and then I really like to look at the catcher a lot of times. It's just one of those things where, for example, let's say if Yachty was catching, he's going to do what he feels in that situation in the game. He goes off the feel of the game. He doesn't always go off what the numbers tell. And that's what made him such a good catcher is, he's not just going off of a sheet of paper. He's going off the feel of the game. Hey, maybe the batter moved up in the box. Maybe he moved back in the box. He's looking at that and he's calling pitches based on that. And so a lot of times, the catcher can kind of dictate how the game's going to get called also.
Who's the one hitter you look at? Who's the guy you're like, yeah, this is Max Muncy? It doesn't matter who it is.
I like to watch how guys attack Bryce Harper and Juan Soto. They're both good fastball hitters, and I feel like I'm a good fastball hitter. So a lot of times they get they get pitched similarly. Obviously, they're different hitters than I am, but I still feel like there's some similarities in how they get pitched.
I love that.
Max, appreciate you, man. And I want to finish with this. Impeccable outdoor Wi-Fi. So we appreciate that. Seriously. We're doing this show live every day. Players are all over the place. And sometimes you think like, oh, I got the Ethernet set up and this and that. Like you're outside and it is perfect. So you can do the interview, whatever, every few weeks right there. Great. Love it. Let Lion King happen inside.
Well, it is LA. You spend a lot of time outside here. So you got to make sure you can, you can be connected.
Yeah, we appreciate your service provider. All right, no sponsors or whatever, but we appreciate it. Max, good to talk to you. Good luck this week. We'll talk to you soon, okay?
All right, thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Cheers.